the argument is not Odell doesn't have a right to be frustrated. He has every right to be frustrated. You're absolutely right. The Giants don't do a good enough job of getting him the ball. And if he is commanding that much attention, they need to do a better job of scoring, because that means other guys are open. The field should be loose somewhere else if there's always safety help and the best corner on Odell. That part is true. It's also true that Odell's right when he says he's not getting calls and guys are allowed to get away with things on him. That's also true, but that's not the issue. How you respond to it is the issue. And if you self-destruct, that is clearly the wrong response.
Well, that's if you self-destruct.
And he's self-destructing.
Wait a minute, but sometimes, why? Because he got a penalty? Because he got a penalty?
Because on the next play, he hit a guy out of it.
Do you think he's a little mentally weak?
I think no. I don't believe.
Do you think he's a little sensitive?
I think he's sensitive.
Okay.
I think there's a difference between being sensitive and mentally weak. To me, you're mentally weak if it cripples you and it inhibits your ability to go out there and do what you're capable of doing. I have seen Odell Beckham Jr. frustrated, visibly so, and go out there and play like a stud. It's 4 games in. Max Kellerman, it's 4 games in.
Oh, he's going to be big this year, of course.
Hold on. It's 4 games in. How in God's name are you the New York Giants and you okay with this brother not having a touchdown?
Well, let me ask you this.
How do you've got to figure that out. You've got to figure that out.
And it is a coaching issue, to your point, as well.
He has 25 touchdowns since he's going to catch plenty of touchdowns.
I'm talking about how he's feeling now, Matt.
Right. Okay, but that's fine. You can feel that way. How does the behavior come out? Do you channel it properly or do you behave immaturely? He behaved immaturely. There's no 2 ways about it.
I don't believe that. There's no doubt that he's been immature. But I think sometimes that immaturity can be a spark plug for the people around you because they don't want to deal with it and they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And that's what you're missing here.
Did it affect his play? I believe it absolutely did.
Okay.
You could see him not make plays. Would they have been sensational plays? Yes, he always makes them. He wasn't making them when the ball was coming his way after the incident.
I'm not defending immaturity and selfishness. What I'm saying is sometimes it takes you being rebellious and acting out for other people to sit up there and say, damn, I don't want to deal with this guy. Let me take care of him so we can move forward. Sometimes that's necessary.
I appreciate your optimism.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah, and clearly the coaching also, there's a bigger issue going on there as well.
By the way, everybody's there but Tom Coughlin. He's the only guy that's gone. So he was the only problem. Evidently not.
Good point. We would like you to weigh in at home. Is Odell Beckham more trouble than he's worth? Go on the First Take Twitter page and vote. We'll share those results a little later in the show. But meanwhile, the Vikings, how impressive are they? Without their starting quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, and arguably the best running back in the league, and Adrian Peterson, they're now 4-0 after a schedule that has been no cakewalk. Wins against the Titans, Packers, Panthers, and Giants. Stephen A., how far can this team go with Sam Bradford at quarterback?
They go to playoffs. That's about it. I mean, I hope no one sits here and expects me to say Vikings and Super Bowl in the same sentence. Not as long as Sam Bradford's their quarterback. I'm not getting sold on that. Listen, Sam Bradford is talented. I know he's talented, but he's been prone to make mistakes, and I am not sold on him, and I'm not sold on their offense, particularly without the services of Adrian Peterson. We shall see. If it happens, it happens. If it happens, then I'll correct myself. But I believe this team is a playoff team. I believe, based on their defense and Zimmer's coaching, he deserves a lot of credit. He really, really does. I poo-pooed that in the past, but I can't deny what I'm seeing right now. The man can coach. The bottom line is this. I need to see more from Sam Bradford if I think they're going to beat Seattle. I need to see more from Sam Bradford if I think that they're going to beat. I would have said Arizona before this season, but not so much now. I'm not giving up on Carolina. I'm not giving up on Carolina. I damn sure believe Seattle is a team to be reckoned with. Those are your picks to go to the Super Bowl, okay? So I think you look at that. And I think you look at Green Bay because, again, they still got to come to Lambeau Field. They still have to play that bad man that is Aaron Rodgers. We shall see what will happen. I'm not going to pick anybody from the NFC East because I'm not sold on the NFC East, especially if Dallas is a possibility, because I damn sure ain't going to pick the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Minnesota Vikings on the road. But I will tell you, do I believe they can make the playoffs? Absolutely. I never doubted that. But a Super Bowl with Sam Bradford as your quarterback, I got to see that to believe it. I'm sorry.
You might be seeing it this year. They're absolute. Listen, the season is very long, and Bradford has an injury history. So, you know, whether they're the same team by the time the playoffs roll around remains to be seen. But if they are, if their quarterback is intact, It's a big if. But if their quarterback's attack, they could absolutely win a Super Bowl with Sam Bradford. As I said a couple weeks ago, once upon a time, Jim Plunkett couldn't win a Super Bowl with him, right? #1 overall pick. And then after, flame out with two teams, really, he wins 2 Super Bowls, with the Raiders. So that could happen to Bradford. Absolutely. There's precedent for
Why?
it.
Because there's precedent for it based on the 70s when you were just born? You mean then?
Let's talk
You mean
about,
back then, almost over 40 years ago? Really?
Let's talk about these Minnesota Vikings and what Bradford brings. Remember when Peterson went down, I said, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but this could actually help Sam Bradford. And so
we both
far,
said that.
And so far, I've turned out to be right. No, you said I refuse to believe that if Peterson goes down, Adrian Peterson goes down, that it's ever going to help a team if Adrian Peterson goes down.
You did say that. I got to give you credit for that because I thought you were crazy.
Wait a minute. I'm on the record saying that Bradford was an upgrade from Bridgewater.
Right.
No, but he said the team could be better without AP.
The team could be better without Adrian Peterson.
I still don't believe that.
I likened it to, although he hasn't declined to this point, but I likened it to Kobe Bryant on the Lakers in his last couple of years. When a legend is on the team, you got to give him the ball. When that's what he does, you got to give him the ball. So they feel this obligation to give Peterson the ball. They're not a power running team. We can see that. They can't block for the run. McKinnon breaks loose yesterday because he's elusive, not like a power back. Yeah.
Especially with his touchdown where you're literally just 2-3 yards away and no one touched him.
Yeah, but
they weren't even prepared. They weren't even prepared.
That's the point.
Right.
The way they block for the run, don't get touched. Don't worry about a power running game if you're the Vikings. So they don't feel the obligation to run it through their aging running back, who was elite level last year, although not this year.
Okay.
That helps. Bradford doesn't turn the ball over. They have an identity. They know who they are. Their defense is elite. And let's look at recent precedent if you don't like Plunkett. How about last year's Broncos team? By advanced metrics, like we're talking about points expected, meaning how much better or worse are you than an average NFL team? The Broncos were the 7th worst offense in the NFL last year, minus 42 points expected. 42 points below an average NFL team, what you'd expect them to score.
But there you go.
The Broncos did.
There you go with the numbers, which I'm very shocked because you use numbers instead of the eye test, and you with the eye test, I mean, I don't understand why you don't defer to it more. Here's the thing, Max Kellerman.
The baby blues?
Here's the thing, the baby blues, baby. Here's the thing, Max Kellerman.
Nice eyes.
Listen, he
Thank
does.
you, Molly.
Listen, that needs to come from her. That's fine. That's fine. But for me, I'm not going there. The point that I'm trying to make to you, Max, is this. When we think about the Denver Broncos and you bring them up from last year, understand that with the Vikings, it was all about Adrian Peterson. Now you're learning new parts. You're learning about the Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Rudolph can play. And, of course, Sam Bradford, when healthy, can throw the deep ball. But even with the struggles of a Peyton Manning, the mystique of Peyton Manning certainly factored into the equation, particularly when he came back from his early season woes. In the meantime, the 7 games when Brock Osweiler was in there, you still had Demaryius Thomas on one side, Emmanuel Sanders on another. You still had C.J. Anderson in the backfield. And so what I'm saying to you is that you had weapons with a rep where you walk into a game and the mystique was there to be concerned about them. With the Vikings, you're sort of figuring it out because everything was about Adrian Peterson. Time would tell. We know their defense is legit, but as the season progresses and there is no Adrian Peterson and we get to lock in on Sam Bradford, even though I like Diggs, but lock in on a Stephon Diggs, but lock in on a Kyle Rudolph. We shall see what happens. I'm not thinking Super Bowl, definitely playoffs. I'm not thinking Super Bowl with the Vikings.
Super Bowl contenders. That defense is special. That's a special defense.
I agree with
yesterday, the Giants, who are not a bad team.
The defense is special.
The Giants really aren't a bad team, but they were outplayed in every facet of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. That was just a superior team.
You cannot go against the Vikings without a running game. You cannot go against the Vikings without a running game. You can't do that.
You can't really do it with a passing game either. There's not much you can do against them.
But again, when you talk about flexibility or diversity within an offense, that matters. The fact that I got to be concerned about you running the football, and I got to stack the line of
broke off a run.
I got to stack the line of scrimmage. I'm just saying you're not really worried. First of all, you're not really worried because you didn't know much about Perkins, and you're not really worried because you know they're not trying to give him the ball 30 times. So it's one of those situations where the vast majority of the times you're anticipating and expecting to drop back into coverage, which is going to be a problem because you've got Shepard, who's a rookie. You got Odell Beckham Jr., who's only in his he's a stud, but him with Eli Manning, who's interception prone, by the way.
The Vikings were giving Adrian Peterson an aging and declining star. And the reason I say declining is because when a guy is as great in his prime as Adrian Peterson was, on his way down, if it's gradual, he can still fool you into believing he's the best. But the last couple of years, Le'Veon Bell was better than him. And if Adrian Peterson was in his prime, no one's better than him. I mean, and then this year, he was averaging under 2 yards a carry.
Because you sound,
and they were giving him the ball 30 times a game.
But you still sound very disrespectful.
Well,
the fact is that saying that Le'Veon Bell, but Le'Veon Bell was better than him.
He was.
Well, it's Le'Veon Bell.
Right, but when Peterson was in his prime, who was better than him?
I understand that, but my point to you is that Peterson was the leading rusher in last year.
But he wasn't the best back in the game anymore. He was in decline.
The point is, no, he wasn't in decline. He was elite.
Peterson last year was as good as he was 6, 7 years ago, 5 years ago.
No, but that's not decline.
Yes, it is. That's the definition.
Not necessarily. It depends on how you utilized. It depends on what Zimmer's trying to do.
They're giving him the ball on every play.
Well, listen, excuse me. Because you're giving him the ball on every single play. Back in the day, Sam Bradford or Teddy Bridgewater wasn't your quarterback. You didn't have to do back in the day what you had to do
Have they been playing better or worse since Peterson went out?
I don't think we know yet. I really don't. Who did they go against, Max?
They've had a tough schedule.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, really? They've had the Packers, the Giants, I think the Titans. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
The Titans. Did you say?
I'm sorry.
By the way,
that might not even be correct, but it's a very tough schedule, and I wish I had it in front of me.
I'm glad you brought up the Packers.
There's definitely 3 tough teams.
Because if you want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to get through the NFC in the playoffs, you better be able to beat the Packers because of that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
And guess who has the best shot to beat the Packers because of the way Mike Zimmer has his defense playing against Aaron Rodgers? Actually, the Vikings.
Vikings schedule at Tennessee, Green Bay, at Carolina, and
I missed Carolina. That's a tough schedule.
Well, again, we say it on paper it was a tough schedule, but we've all looked at the Carolina Panthers and say, what the hell is going on with them?
One of the things that's going on with them is they had to play the Vikings early in the season.
You can look at it that way. I can look at it as the fact that they let go of Josh Norman. They're relying on rookies in their secondary, as we learned the results of that from Julio Jones this past Sunday. 300 yards and 12 receptions. You want to talk to me about that defense today? You really
Can the Broncos win a Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. Can the Broncos win a Super Bowl this year?
Yeah.
With Simeon, they can win, but they can't win with Bradford because Simeon's clearly better than Bradford.
Because of the weapons Simeon has at his disposal, which is what I said earlier, if you were listening. You refused to listen from time to time.
Denver offense, I said already, 7th worst in the league last year in added points expected.
But that was because of Peyton Manning, his inability to throw the football. He was injured. He wasn't himself. We all know this. That's why he retired now. I'm telling you, when you look at the Denver Broncos and the parts that they have around the quarterback position, it's more potent, at least at this moment in time, than what Minnesota has available to them. Can you dispute that?
No, they have better wideouts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Max is saying a potential Super Bowl contender. You're saying a playoff team. But we can all agree the way this team has responded to adversity, losing their quarterback, getting Bradford without AP and playing that tough schedule.
Class of the NFC right now.
And that's a special defense.
Week 4, a quarter of the way.
We got to give them props, though. So far, you really got to give this team props.
I said they're going to play us. What do you want me to do? Bake cookies for them?
Okay.